time we pick up on the rest of the questions from Sandy White. I had a chance to ask him a few questions, so we'll take a look at that, and then there'll be a little bit of a look at the evening entertainment.
Just some strange thing. In some used two-channel sound, and it came with a wiring diagram to connect it to a synthesizer. Who made the sound and why he was not happy with the Spectrum Beeper?
Why was I not happy with the Spectrum Beeper? Well, well, it was okay, and I mean, I definitely felt that I was rising to the challenge of getting the best out of the speaker. You know, and the two-channel sound was, you know, it was a nice little bit of code, and I was pulse width modulating the speaker, you know, to get, you know, because it's a transistor driving a coil, and it's either on or off, so it makes square waves, which sound horribly harsh, and you know, anything that. So I was using the AY 8912 in one of the stock, which is a General Instruments chip that uses 3 channels of square waves. I think it's in the Spectrum on. So I was playing with that long before it was ever in the Spectrum. And I guess I wanted more out of audio, but you know, you couldn't even be generating graphics and audio at the same time. Which is why when you're walking hand attack, it draws a frame, it does a fixed click, it draws a frame, and it interrupts. You can get them to go faster than generate audio. So I think the solution was I could have a MIDI driver, and if you have the what is it, interface 1 connected to the Spectrum, you could toggle the port pin and get MIDI out. You know, so it just needed 2 resistors really to limit the current, and 3.5 jacks, and it didn't. You could plug it into a MIDI synth. So that was the idea of that. But actually, it completely fell over. I remember when the game was launched, they had gone to the trouble of renting a DX7, it's like the digital synth, probably the first had MIDI, and I set the Spectrum up for the launch, plugged the cable into the interface 1, plugged it into the DX7, nothing. I was still not entirely sure why, but I think that the crystal oscillator that was going on was slightly off, you know, so the baud rate of the MIDI was out slightly, and it didn't drive it. So I was never even, and I've never heard of a single person who ever went to the trouble of making up one of these cables and got the result.
But it's still something nobody has tried before or after your work, so it makes it unique.
Well, that's something.
Okay, we have a panel talk later with all the speakers, but if anybody have now a question particular, Andy, you can ask now. Can you just come in the room, because I have to give you the microphone.
Was Zombie meant to be a sequel to
Oh, wow. Yes, that's an interesting one. Yes, I suppose it was. But for some reason, some weird reason, I didn't want to do a sequel. I had it in my head that I didn't want to be repeating myself. And that's a weird thing. I still don't quite know why I didn't go, yeah, this is Antitype 2. But yeah, I think think we talked about this last night. Here's something that's changed an awful lot. We've got the internet now, and you get a lot of feedback about what you're doing. You know, if somebody liked or didn't like something you made, you can know about it. You know, the same hour, the hour after you posted. You know, and I don't think I got any feedback whatsoever about what I was doing back then. There wasn't a way. I don't think I had a single conversation with somebody who bought a game outside of family. You know, there was no guidance. That I had no feel for whether people liked it or not. You know, because you would do an interview for a magazine and you would read. You know, you'd read about yourself. You know, go, oh yeah, that's what I did. That's interesting. But there was no. It was like some kind of alter ego. It was like a creation of the press, and I think for that reason, I wasn't in touch with what might have been appreciated by people, and I think maybe. You know, maybe a sequel would have been, and I should have just grasped that level and done it.
There's later we have there'll be a table where the speakers will give signatures. If somebody wants, then you can speak to him, and it's up to you to convince him about the sequel.
I'll be floating around here all day, so just grab me if you've got anything positive to say, you know, or negative.
So, any more questions now?
Yeah. Have you still got your softie and the cable for Spectrum?
Oh,
yes.
yes.
So why wouldn't you just hack another loads of hexadecimal codes in to create a game like that?
Are you a Softie fan? Have you got one?
I'm in the middle of rebuilding one at the moment. So.
Fantastic, we should chat. Yeah, I've got my Softie, and it probably works, but I got super lucky a couple of months ago and found a second one on eBay, which can donate parts. So I'm really hoping to get it up and running and recreate that development environment.
Cool. There's a forum for people to get them working anyway. But I've got another question as well. Did you ever think of turning Anti-Attack into a games writing system that people could use?
No.
No editor for game levels?
Well, yes, there was an editor for Zombie, but there was no thought, I think, of you know, selling it or making it available. Again, there's this thing, there was no internet, you know, it would have to have been a product, you know, to be published by someone, and that would have entailed a whole load of work, you know, in terms of, I mean, there's a big difference between a tool you can use in-house.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, you've been there. Yeah, so never really thought about it. Like Quicksilver did. I mean, John Hollis did, you know, an arcade game creating system, and you know, so yeah, I was aware of the idea, but no, not seriously. Too difficult, I think.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any more?
I feel like I should sing a song.
Why did you decide not to have joystick support on Anti-Attack?
Did I? Decide not to?
Now, one of the main things was that they found the controls quite fiddly on the keyboard.
Oh yeah, I mean the controls are terrible. Why? Yeah, the answer is like I hadn't really seen. I wasn't playing other games, and I was an idiot. I mean, why to rotate and then it's silly. So yeah, if I could go back and change that, any one single thing, it would be that. for sure.
Maybe there's a poke out there somewhere that could do that.
I bet there is.
I bet there is.
I hope there is.
Probably. I made my first couple of grand selling patches to games for making joysticks.
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Can I just ask, it's always fascinated me about Ant Attack. It was quite early on it came out, before all the sort of ultimate play the game 3D isometric things. It was 1983, wasn't it? Ant Attack came out
Yeah.
fairly early on. How on earth back then did you get the thing running so fast? 3D graphics, with, presumably without you developing on the spectrum. This was before all the later techniques that people came up with, such as in Cobra, where they were using the pop and push instructions to push data around really fast.
Yeah.
How did you get the thing up to speed?
I think it was just sheer interest. I mean, all my coding experience up to that date had been writing assembly language, and I was just really interested in the puzzle of it. Of how to take the instruction set and its strengths and its limitations and find those quirks. I mean, Ant Attack, it's pretty simple what it's doing in terms of writing to the screen, but there are a certain kind of a system of culling of cubes that aren't going to be drawn. There are things in it that are, I felt were quite clever. So that's your answer. I was really interested in it. Then, when I went on to do, Eye of the Mask, I was pushing even further. I was going like, how can you draw to the screen full bandwidth, and not double buffer it and stuff. But you mentioned the pushing and popping. It hadn't occurred to me that you could use the stack pointer for something like that. When John Hollis saw Ant Attack, he said, "How are you copying the screen?" And I said, "It's just a loop. You can do this." So again, like no internet, but there started to be like when you met somebody, like, how are you doing this or how are you doing that? And but I'm still really interested in that particular quirky aspect of writing software, and I've still managed to be able to write assembly language in modern for this. I did the. Have you heard of a game called No Man's Sky? I did the creature audio for that game, and so it's procedurally generated because the whole game's procedural. They wanted procedural sound as well, and I wanted the CPU budget to be as small as possible. So I did actually get in and start writing the SIMD instructions. And that code's out there a billion times now, saving a few cycles of people's electricity bill. But yeah, that passion is still there. It's like a puzzle, isn't it? It's like you know what you want to achieve. You've got this instruction set, and how can you get there the best? It's less and less relevant because compilers are so clever and so optimal that I don't think that'll be the last time I probably ever do such a thing, but it's still fun.
It was a hell of an achievement.
Thank you. I could tell you at the launch, which was in the Barbican in a car park, there was a press conference, like I completely new to all of this. There was gathered press, and they showed the game on a screen, and the room went silent. There was a gasp you know, when the thing was shown on the screen. And it's sometimes, like, I remind myself that, yeah, it was surprising to people to see this, you know. I realized, like, why did I even bother? You know, they like redrawing the city. I mean, it was a dynamic, it was a rendering of a model, but it would have done just a pre-render the whole thing, you know. And in fact, subsequently, someone was asked to do the Commodore 64 conversion of Ant Attack, and the 64 didn't really have the power to do it. So that was the solution. You just pre-rendered the 4 views and then masked the sprites so that they looked like they were going behind things. And I could have done that way. It would have gone even faster. You'd probably get 60 frames per second or something.
Well, that's the thing. We are at the Spectrum 40. We have 40 years experience, and I think we are still not at the end, because every time when I watch some demos or even some new games, we have nowadays more and more multicolor games. Who imagined this in 1983? No one. And so it's going on, and I wonder sometimes what happened to newer systems, because they appeared, they went fast or something, and they were never maybe used in its full power. And even the Spectrum, after now such a long time, who knows what else we will discover? We will see it on the Spectrum 45 or Spectrum 50, who knows. Okay, I think if you have any further questions, just keep it, because we will later have the panel talk with the others. We will now end here. Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Such
Yeah.
great. And again, he will be around the whole day, so if you just see him just talking.
Yeah, just grab me. I'll be here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to Sandy as much as I did. As I said, unfortunately, I missed quite a lot of the things, because I certainly at 6 p.m. when they were showing the premiere of the ZX Spectrum Experience documentary by Will Brooker, I was busy packing up and sending my stuff back to the hotel so I could take part in the after-show party. There's a Kickstarter page with a little bit about the film.
And my own. This film is about the fans. Around a little bit.
So I'm sure you can pick up a little bit more. I'm not sure whether copies are available online. Be interested to find out if they're available somewhere to download. So let's see what happened then. A little couple of pictures and pickups from the evening entertainment.
Code, get a taste for home taping, fetishist of map making. Rotten leaves and rubber keys, random run and load of screens, and 5 minutes fingers crossed, hoping not to witness the terror of our tape loading error. We brought it to help with your homework. We brought it to help with your homework. And the household accounts, if your dad ever works it all out. ZX Spectrum 81, Dragon Vic and RN1, Commodore 64, Amstrad and an 8 Lord Electron, cheaper BBC micros. Jess and Willie, Sable Wolf, North of Midnight, Underworld, Sharks, House of Ant Attack, and of course Manic Rider, The Hobbit and Night Lore and Elite. It made a generation who can code a bubble before proper consoles, who all know that the games you get today, well, they might be very flash, but they'll never beat the thrill of getting through Jetpack. Oh, hey, 16K, what does that get you today? today. You need more than that for a letter. Old school ramparts are much better. Personal computer games, you'll see fair. 16K, comes and competition pro. Crash and cursor keys and go to Dixon's. And bother Saturday staff with loops that don't end. We bought it to help with your homework. We bought it to help with your homework and the household accounts. If your dad ever works it all out. Oh hey, hey, 16K, what does that get you today? You need more than that for a letter. Old school ramparts are much better. Hey, hey, 16K, what does that get you today? You need more than that for a letter. Old school ramparts are much better. For n equals 0 to 2, those were the days. Next n.
With somebody.
80s karaoke, let's have a look. Good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline.
I'll be sort of out and then back in again. I've got messages in yet, and shopping.